Welcome to the Smoke and Rope podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Basore, and today is episode 53. And I'm very excited to have back on the show, this time solo, Ida Pearly. Ida, thanks for being on.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me on.
I'm looking forward to getting right into the MICIA Summer Annual, my favorite event of the year. Before we do that, I want to say hi to Tom at Real Leaf. Tom, how you doing?
Doing great, Ryan. Good to be here. Beautiful day. Great growing season in Michigan this year. Your plants survived all those crazy storms, man. It's awesome, man. Glad to have Ida back.
Thank
Yeah, it's
you.
awesome. I was up at Driven yesterday and saw some of their outdoor stuff and looking super healthy. So exciting. Kevin over at True, what's happening today, man?
Oh, same old, same old. Yeah, I'm hearing from the same thing from people on their outdoor crops. They're looking fantastic this year. So we've needed it. We'll see about this rain, though. If this continues into the fall, it could be problematic for the mold issue, So let's hope for some dry weather coming up.
Yep. Well, yeah. Well, we'll see. But I know last year was amazing, and what a first year to have for the first, Prop One being legal. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to Croptober as usual. But with that, I want to get back into Ida. First met you, or first started hearing about you when I was actually in prison, as I was obviously staying up on everything that was going on in Michigan, and became aware of you. And I had the State Journal sent to me, and people sent me articles, and then obviously Robin and Mark and everybody came down and visited. So once I got out and was really following what was going on, and you and your daughter Bella were up at every legislative hearing, at every event, and for people that don't know the history, it's one of the main reasons that we became legal in Michigan. So it's always fun to have you back on, and and then watching you now grow into a great role as the deputy director of the MICIA. Something we're always big supporters of this whole show, and even Martin Waymeyer with Josh Hovey and myself being there at the beginning. It's something near and dear. So with that, thanks for being on, and let's talk about the summer annual, because this is the third annual. We did make it up last year. It was an amazing event. We had a little break in the COVID regulations, but this year I'm hearing about so many people coming that have never been. Rooms I'm hearing are sold out. I can't wait. So tell me what you know about it.
Yeah, it's really crazy because I guess like everybody and their brother is flooding north this year. And the hotels are having the same issue, that we have with restaurants, staffing issues. So what we did is we blocked off rooms, at Shanty Creek, but we had to reach out to other surrounding hotels for room blocks as well, just to accommodate everybody. But we have 300 members coming. It's July 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. The first night on the 21st, we are having a pack reception. This year, we're going to have about 8 to 10 state reps coming up. Cocktails, dinner, it's going to be a great time to mingle and just help them understand that this is a viable industry. We are business oriented. This is a medicine. It's not going anywhere. And I think that it helps them, connect with their constituents and see who they're fighting for and what they're fighting about. On Wednesday, real quick, I just have to tell you, when we sent out this link mid-April, all of our sponsorships sold out within the first 24 hours. You guys were fighting for those sponsorships. It was hilarious. But on Wednesday, on Thursday, we're doing breakfast, and then we're doing breakout sessions. And then we have our Chronic Golf Championship. And Ryan, you know all about that. And Kevin.
Defending champion there, Ryan.
Exactly.
At the tea party.
The tea party is my favorite.
We need to get prizes for the tea party, Tom. You need to head that one up.
Last
That would be a good one.
I like that. We're actually having music provided too by Apothecare. They're providing a jazz band for us this year for the pack reception, and the cocktail hour for our dinner. So after we have the golf and the tea party, we have dinner, dancing, our award ceremony, and then on Friday we have a huge boat party out on Torch Lake. We've rented 6 boats this year, but I hear there's quite a few of you bringing your own boats.
Tom, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, are you?
Oh
what's
yeah,
up,
we'll
Tom?
be there. Sorry, man. Yeah, the poop ship will be there in full effect. You can count on us every time. And last one.
Oh yes.
I just I tell everybody when they say why, for people that aren't members, why to join. Obviously there's the great insurance discount on Conifer, and they're supporting what you're doing, but the MICIA event is the best cannabis event I've ever been to, whether it be nationally, locally. It's just you get all these decision makers in a relaxed setting, and everyone's happy and excited to be there. And I'm excited about all the ancillary people that are coming and sponsoring and making it more and more normal. How many people are signed up, Ida, and is it sold out? Can anybody still come if they're going to join? And what's that look like?
So we have about, I think, 20 tickets left. So we're at 290 right now, or 280. So 20 tickets left, and then I'm sorry, what was your other question?
Oh, just as far as yeah, you got me on that too. No, just as far as with if people. Well, the question was if people could still join and come right away. But yeah, so obviously if they join, they can still get one of those last 20 tickets.
Yes, and it's crazy because we sent the link out in April. So from April until like the week before the conference right now, I probably have about 5 calls a day where I'm talking with both ancillary members and licensed, potential members, explaining to them what we do as an association. And it's really interesting to me that they haven't heard of us yet. So I do find it interesting, that there's people who've been in the space, for 5-6 years and are calling saying, I've never heard of you. Where are you at? And it's like, well, we're here. We're in there.
Yeah, that's wild. That's part of the goal of keep getting these people and have everyone kind of participate and not put it on the backs of the few. So that's great that people are looking at it and will support it. I'm super excited for all of it. Condo studio right next to the hotel this year, and I'm really excited about that. But what are some of the questions that people are asking about the event, and like what are they curious about, and like what do you when they're calling?
It's really interesting because a lot of people are expecting like the booths, like the case show, the shows, the booth shows, I guess. I don't know how to describe that, but it's really interesting. So what I'm trying to explain to them, it's more of a networking event. They have to like change their thought process, and they're like, oh my God, like it's an in-person hand touching event. And it's like, yes. So it's really interesting, how some of them are really open to it, and there's still some of that fear, just coming off of COVID. But that's primarily what we do, is we are a networking association for our members. For the licensees though, we lobby. That's what our main goal is. That's what the whole foundation of this association is to lobby on behalf of the licensed cannabis business owners. And then, we've opened it up to the ancillary members to help get their foot in the door and create a budding business.
Yeah, it's funny, Ida, a lot of people think that this is an expo. I think is what, people think in their mind, but this is truly a social event that ties in cannabis business. It just like Ryan said earlier, it provides an environment that's relaxing, that's not pressure oriented. I feel like when I go to an expo, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to try to meet people that you don't know, where this puts you in a situation where you're literally shoulder to shoulder with somebody, sharing a cocktail, maybe eating dinner at a table with people you don't know, and then the conversation just comes up like, hey, what do you do? And it just spirals from there. It drags in 8 or 10 people from the table. Everybody kind of gets involved in the conversation, and you learn so much. And so I think that's the big difference of what's going on. But I had a real quick for those people that are trying to debate whether or not they want to be involved in the MICA. What are the price points on the membership, and what's all involved in that for the potential members?
Yeah, so our ancillary members, they can come in at $100 a month, or anybody can pay annually as well. So we encourage, a discount if you want to pay annually. But for our licensees, we have the industry level, and that's $420 a month. And that gives you access, to all of our database, all of our memberships, give you access to the database. But the further up you go with membership, really depends on how involved within the industry you want to be. If you have access to Robin, if you have regulatory issues, if you want to be on, any committees, it's, again, we focus on lobbying for our licensed cannabis business owners, and then creating that, we want to include everybody. Yeah. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
No, yeah, it did. And it's crazy because
doing podcasts, right?
right. It's funny because Ryan brought this up before about the MICIA, and when people talk about the Michigan Cannabis Industry, or the Manufacturers Association. I'm sorry. MCMA. When people talk about the MCMA and you talk about caregivers' rights and no change and all that stuff, that's exactly what the MICIA has been. We've been that since the very get-go. And it kind of blows my mind that there are that many people on that list that aren't members of the MICIA, because what we do in the MICIA is they lobby on an everyday basis to maintain the rights of caregivers. So I think it's interesting, and I think it's important to point out so that people do understand what the MICIA does, along with these social events and along with the discounts and the networking and all that. But they lobby on a regular basis to keep things fair, non-monopolistic, and good, a good environment to work in. So I just wanted to point that out.
The MICA was so kind to us as we were getting started, and I always felt like we were represented even if we weren't necessarily members at the beginning, because you guys understood where we were trying to get our, just get our roots going, But I feel like you guys represent every single member, no matter what level they come in at and who they are, what they do, how many stores they have, whether they're mom or pop or if they're, corporate structured. You guys are there for all of our needs, as long as everyone aligns their priorities. And that's really what this whole struggle with the MCMA is like integrity. I mean, it's really a matter of this is a very viable industry, and it can be for a lot of people. But you have to stick together, because it is a battle against so many different forces, whether it's within the industry or it's federally or even from the state. There's so many things happening, and we're constantly under attack, as we always have been. So we need you guys, and we appreciate everything that you and Robin and everyone does there. It's just, for us, I can, definitely say that if you're on the fence and you're not a member of the MICA and you're in this industry, you really want a fighting chance at, being relevant in the future. I really feel like we have to stick together. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, and all of our, board members were caregivers at one point, so we know how important it is. And that's the thing is you have a lot of companies coming in from out of state who don't understand the internal community that we have going.
We've been here. We don't need people coming in from out of state. I guess it depends on what your integrity level, I guess, maybe,
Yeah.
If they're good people, if they're good people, we welcome them. If they
Sure.
do what I'm saying, we don't. I mean, that's I think it's that simple.
But yeah, an extremely viable cannabis market, and excellent caregivers. We still have the best caregivers in the nation. I stand by it. Even the people that have been licensed, that we consider ourselves caregivers first and foremost. We can just, we can care for more people this way. So yeah,
to hear people say, that caregivers now, are just in it for the profit, and it's like, wait a second, we were donated over $1,000 of medicine a month. I would have had to have fundraised for that. There are still caregivers out there who are making the RSO and who are making the teachers for patients. And it blows me away that, again, you want to take away a market that is life-saving, and it's the quality of life,
Yeah.
And for me, it adds to the overall culture of Michigan and separates us. And I think it's it's a great to have a thriving caregiver market along with a regulated market, and just two different laws and two different types of like operations and what you're doing. So 100%. Speaking of kind of some of that stuff, I know a lot of states have taken the route of banning Delta 8. In Michigan, just had the law signed and of regulating it and keeping it. Do you want to just discuss that just a little bit? I know the MICA supported it.
Yeah, we did support it. Again, it comes down to education and safety. I mean, I have, granted my youngest is now 16, but still to know that my child could go into a convenience store or a gas station and pick up Delta 8, and I've tried it. It gets me high. I mean, it's again, it's safety and it's education, and there's no reason why it can't be regulated along with cannabis if it's causing psychoactive effects.
Yeah, big time agree, because like for me, I mean, I just look at human nature, and we saw what humans did with the vape cart, illicit market, whatever you want to call it, with vitamin acetate, and people are going to put shitty stuff in that and not care. And unfortunately, that's part of being human. And so like I don't want, like, that's the big thing for me, is like people going in and thinking they're getting that and really hurting themselves with that. So like it makes sense. I wish we didn't have to do that, but
Yeah,
me,
but
I
consumer
know they're
products
gonna do
have to be held to a standard. I mean, if
Yep.
people are consuming them, they're purchasing them at a retail establishment. There is like liability at stake
Yeah.
for that, and at some level, somebody has to be making sure people are doing the right thing, because we know inherently people don't necessarily do the right thing out of their own free will.
Right.
without a doubt.
I think that brings up a really valid point that should be discussed slightly, and that is, the marijuana industry is under the microscope as we're starting a new industry, and we're going through a lot of testing to make sure things are safe. I would love to see them do that with other industries. I'd love to see our food being tested to make sure it's safe for us to eat. I would love to see, consumables of any nature tested to see if they're safe, because I have a good inclination that the standards that we're held to, none of these other industries would even be able to thrive if they had to deal with what we're dealing with. So I think that's just something that we should maybe consider talking about a little bit.
Yeah. Well, a Hershey bar won't pass Michigan metals testing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I heard it won't pass a salmonella test either. So that's great. That's just crazy.
Hey, Ida, tell us a little bit. I got to be on it and watch it. You guys did a podcast. I really liked it. As I know now, it's a ton of work. I'm lucky to be working with Nate over at Martin Waymeyer that does all the work. So, but it is a lot of work just to do it each week. And just tell us about that and how you've grown, kind of like the experience of getting on there and talking, how it's kind of changed things. I look at it as just a great exercise, if nothing else. But it's and when are you guys gonna pick that back up?
Yeah, it's a great exercise. I agree with you. So just a little bit with coming out of the hospital with Bella. I mean, I was in the hospital with her for 10 years, essentially almost every month. So re-emerging, I feel like that Encino Man, literally like I'm coming back to civilization. So it's been a really interesting ride, and the PTSD, let me tell you, I still have triggers from that. But I completely forgot where I was going with that.
Just as far as like the exercise of getting out there and talking, as I know what it's done, doing that every week. It's and then when are you guys coming back?
Yeah. So that's what I was leading up to. So that's what it's helping me come out of my shell and communicate. Communication, I think, for all of us is a really big, sticky issue. But we wanted to do the podcast more because of COVID, and we weren't having really in-person meetings or gatherings. So we wanted to really showcase our members and highlight their stories, why they got into this business and why it's so important to them. And then for our ancillary members, it's a way to help advertise for them. They can either send us a 2 to 3 minute commercial we can play at the end of the podcast. And then we can play it on our social media too. We can help get it out that way. Or if they don't want to do that, then we give a brief description. And to be honest, I would rather have a 2 to 3 minute video showcasing, what you want to bring to your company. But I really enjoy doing the podcast. It's bringing me out of my shell. It's helping me grow as a person, helping me get ready for my own business in the future.
You at liberty to talk anything about that or not?
Not
Okay,
yet.
very
Yeah,
very cool.
I have to do a name change first.
Okay, well, super exciting stuff, and a lot of, Michigan is the launching ground, and if you make it in Michigan, you can make it anywhere. Basically, that's what we're saying now.
So true.
What
So for
Go
the
ahead.
podcast, though, we are bringing that back. I believe it's August 11th is when we're. No. I'm sorry, September 8th.
Okay.
Is when we're coming back. We're really busy this summer just because coming back out of COVID and then getting ready for the conference, and it does take a lot of time to get those podcasts together and line up all of your.
Yeah, it's
Interview
not
week.
easy. What
Yeah.
are you seeing, and are we going to be doing any lobby days in the future?
I really think our events, we might have 1 or 2 more social events before the end of the year.
Hmm.
Just coming out of COVID, with staffing issues, restaurants, it's really hard for us to book places. Lobby days, yes, I really hope we can start picking those back up in February. I loved what we did right before we
Yep.
shut down in COVID. For those of you who don't know, we rented out two rows of the rotunda here at the Capitol, and we had both of our ancillary members and licensed members come in and bring samples, CBD samples. But the legislatures and the senators and their staff were able to just walk through and again understand this is a business. It's a viable business. It's medicine. It's not going anywhere. And you're fighting for quality of life rights issues. You're fighting for choice issues. Everyone should have a choice. And then we provided lunch, for everyone. So we really try to incorporate as much as we can the networking and the face-to-face contact with local legislatures.
Yeah, and I went that networking event. And I thought that was absolutely amazing. I mean, we had the whole Capitol laced out in cannabis stuff.
It was so cool.
Yeah, and then we had the senators and House reps walking through there, checking stuff out, eating lunch together with us, talking to us, getting an idea. Really, it's letting people understand that we're just normal people that want to run a business. I think that they think that we're in the past, with all the hypocrisy, they just think that you're like crazy drug users, crazy. When they see it's your neighbor, it's just normal people. It's like it's really connecting.
Absolutely.
For sure. Education. It's
Yeah.
crucial.
Yeah, and that's the way I feel. It's like if I'm sitting out somewhere and I'm smoking a joint, guess what? I'm going to take a picture and post it because, granted, I know there are certain laws, but it's like this is a medicine. There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. It's no different from somebody having an alcoholic drink or a cigarette. It's just a different modality of relaxation or medicine. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's great. I remember the one before that when we did we thought was pretty impressive as far as with the banking, when we got the Michigan Banking Association with MICA did to come out, hold a press conference, and push for the Safe Banking Act. That's something hopefully we can do again because that needs to get passed without a doubt. Without a doubt. Is there? As far as what's coming up next for the MICIA in the future, is there a limit to how many members you guys are going to continue to grow?
We're going to continue to grow. Yeah, we've got over 300 members, and just from this week alone, I think we've brought in 5 or 6 more.
Really? Are they all coming to the event?
The event, yes, and I just got a text. We have 13 tickets left, I think.
Oh
12.
man.
12 tickets since we started this podcast.
Oh geez. Well, I'm
12 more to go.
That's right, 12 more to go.
I'm looking forward to it, and maybe it's such a success. Maybe we'll be able to figure out a winter annual type thing in the future, because it is so much fun, and it is the greatest networking event in cannabis in my opinion. But we are running low on time, and I wanted to let Tom and Kevin ask any final questions and final thoughts. So with that, Kevin over at Truu.
I just want to thank Ida for coming on the show today. It's always a pleasure to get a chance to talk to you. One thing I want to clarify, we talk about the CIA a lot on our show. And don't get it twisted. I don't work for you guys. I don't work for the MICIA. I'm a member. You know what I mean? Just like Ryan is, just like Tom is. None of us get paid to say this stuff. We all truly believe in what's going on. And, being busy business owners, you can't always have your ear to the ground. You can't always be available to go down to the Capitol and talk to your rep or whatever. But the MICIA is always there to do that. I encourage anybody in this industry that's an honest operator, that's non-monopolistic, to give Ida a call or give Robin a call and make that connection. So Ida, real quick, why don't you give the listeners any contact information we got?
Sure. Our website is www.micia.org. You can email me at ida@micia.org as well.
Thanks.
Simple.
Yeah, well said, Kevin. I just wanted to say that we love you, Ida, and you and Robin and everyone at the MICA. Keep doing what you're doing. I can't wait to see you all next week. It's going to be a blast.
Thank you. I love you all. Just saying. I mean, this is a close-knit family. This is the only industry. So coming from the special needs family, I don't know if I've ever shared this, but granted, there's a community there and people want to help each other, but they're low emotionally, they're low financially, there's no support. And coming from that into an industry where people want to help you, there's enough for everybody to go around. It's so overwhelming and encouraging, and it's love. I love it.
That's very well said. And, thanks again for being on. We discussed this before, but it kind of like you brought it, like talking about the MICA and when it was formed and why it was formed, and we've talked about the MCMA, so I just kind of want to close and talk about, in my opinion, how we formed and why. And it was right at the end there, stuff that you worked hard on, Ida, and with Prop 1 passing, and it was the lame duck session, and that's when there was like Meekoff and Steve Linder and all the crew. We're trying to get the law changed because they had a 2-week window and they could do it. And really, Robin and Kevin McKinney blocked it. They talked, and it was a great move and Tom Leonard was Speaker of the House, and he acted with integrity, and that was so close to changing. So I remember, Robin just was constantly calling, like, we got to start this, and talking with Josh Hovey, so we have to, and I agreed, is like, if we didn't do this now, and built this organization up, we've already would have been steamrolled. That was why we did it, and I really, it's one of the things I'm most proud of that I've done and been a part of, and that's why we're so passionate about it, because in my opinion, the MICA allows us to keep the industry the way we want it in Michigan. So with that, thanks again. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to give a quick shout out to Robin Schneider, because that woman is 5 steps ahead of everyone. It's incredible to watch her. Talk about beautiful mind. Yeah. She's so far ahead, and she can see the different scenarios and how they're going to play out, and it's incredible, that she's in the position she's in to help as many people and to get legislation changed and the wording corrected as it needs to be.
Yep, she is
truly blessed to have her.
She's in the perfect position for her, and in my opinion, when you see people doing exactly what they should be doing and are qualified to doing, that's Robin in a nutshell. So I think I'm
24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week thing.
Yeah, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm trying to help her take some time for herself.
Yeah. So thank you, Robin, and everyone else. I better give a shout out to Isaiah as well, and the whole team. But with that, can't wait for next week in the Summer Annual, and next week's show will be on Tuesday, and we're gonna have Patrick Frakes from Rare on the show, and we got a big announcement. So with that, see everybody next week.
Nice, thank you.
Thanks, Ida.
Have a great afternoon.